In 1988, Sammy Davis Jr. made a spectacular comeback, performing with Frank Sinatra and Liza Minnelli to sold-out audiences across the country. But even Sammy couldn't cheat the Grim Reaper, and his time was running short. 62-year-old Davis rarely missed a performance, but in the summer of 1989, the entertainer canceled a show at Harrah's in Lake Tahoe.
I know that he was having problems with his throat pretty badly then. And his voice was starting to go.
The news was bad, very bad. Doctors diagnosed Sammy, who was a chronic smoker, with throat cancer.
When he was first made aware of it, he got all his roadies around him and he said, look, he said, I don't want any sad faces. I don't want any crying. He said, I have had a life that I never imagined I would have.
Doctors gave Davis two options. Surgery to remove his vocal cords would give him a 70% chance of beating the cancer. Radiation, a 20% chance. Davis chose radiation.
Help me understand something here, and I want you just for a second to imagine that you have that same option. Be honest. Let me know in the comments, which one would you choose?
They took his voice box out, he wouldn't be able to sing. And Sammy said, if I can't sing, I don't want to live. So they did radiation and it didn't work.
His illness wasn't the only issue on Sammy's mind. For a long time, Altavis had wanted a child. Sammy always resisted, feeling he was a poor father to the 3 children he already had. Finally, Davis agreed to adopt an 11-year-old boy named Manny.
I just know that Sammy did not want to have another child, but that he was very weak. By that time, he was near dying, and he didn't want to fight anymore. So he said, all right, fine, we'll adopt a child.
Davis underwent radiation treatments for 8 weeks. In the meantime, producer George Slaughter was preparing a television special honoring Sammy's 60 years in show business. In November, after finishing his treatments, Davis roused himself to participate in the program.
That day, Sammy was very, very ill, and I had brought his shoes there for him to tap dance. And I said, honey, I don't think you could dance. And he said, I can't talk, but my legs work.
And see, that's what I can't understand. Why not just go ahead and have the surgery and get the vocal box taken out? Because you could still make money performing by dancing. Tell me your thoughts about that in the comments.
The special aired on ABC in February 1990. Weeks later, Sammy was back in the hospital. Only those closest to Davis were allowed to see him.
Kim Novak, he always continued to love her, and in fact, as he was dying, she came to the hospital. She's one of the few people that were allowed to come to see him at the hospital.
But there was little doctors could do. Finally, they sent Sammy home, where devoted friends like Shirley Rhodes helped take care of him.
That house in Beverly Hills had a great meaning to him. You have to remember that when Sammy made it at Ciro's, he couldn't rent because of his color. So now here he is, the owner of 2 acres in Beverly Hills. Shirley would wheel him around and say to him, this is yours. Look at it. This is yours. You earned this. This is your house. This is your grounds. You own this.
And see, that's what pisses me off right there. He earned it. And he had the money long time ago. But on his deathbed, that's when he's able to enjoy it. And people get so fixated over skin color. Skin color. That's it. People need to change. Grow up.
Sammy's closest friends came to say goodbye.
He was in a hospital bed, and at that point he must have weighed 80 pounds. And there was this 12-year-old little black boy on white sheets on his side with tubes everywhere. And he still had his diamond bracelet on. And I went in, and he looked at me with his good eye. So I put my head on his pillow, And we talked. And he said, "You know that I've loved you all my life." And I said, "I know. And I loved you." He said, "You've been a good sister."
And that's another thing right there that angers me. The woman that he forever loved, he still loved. And just because of skin color, he could not have the woman he wanted. You know, come to think of it, that's probably why all his other relationships didn't work, because none of those women were her.
And say nice things at the funeral.
On May 16, 1990, Sammy Davis Jr. passed away in the night. He was 64.
Wait a minute, hold on. The movie that I watched, that I remember Sammy Davis Jr. in, that I still watch to this day, is a Christmas movie called The Boy Who Loved Christmas. That came out in 1990. So you trying to tell me why he was going through all of this hurt, all of this frustration, all of this breaking down of his body, he was in that movie performing, entertaining people? That's amazing.
2 days later, Sammy was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Cemetery in Glendale. A motorcade stopped traffic for 3 hours.
His funeral was a party, and that's the way he wanted it. It was a great day.
Sammy was not good because he was lucky. He worked at it. He meant to be good. He had the potential to be 5'3" and ordinary, even subordinary. He achieved the extraordinary.
I idolized Sammy Davis Jr. because 1956, black people were really struggling. And there were things as a young boy that I was told I shouldn't do, and I couldn't do, and I had to be careful, and I had to... But Sammy Davis did whatever he wanted to do. And he did it so great that it was all right. He couldn't be denied.
I wonder if it's possible to get a tour of his house. I would love to be able to tour his house, especially for my channel.
He opened the door for black entertainers and white entertainers. He also opened the door to freedom from racism. We know we still have some, but he made it better.
Frank Sinatra was one of those who was hit hardest by Sammy's death.
I think Sinatra was truly brokenhearted when Sammy died. I think by then they had become symbols to one another of what had been and all those glorious years that they had shared.
Unfortunately, Sammy died as he lived, in debt. Davis left substantial insurance policies for Altavis, his children, and his second wife, My Britt. But he also left a debt to the IRS of $5 million.
Just before he died, he said, "Listen, I'm 64 years old. I lived the life of a man of 164. And he said, the money that I owe them, if they want it, let them dig it out of the ground. That's where I'll be."
After his death, I mean, IRS came in and took his estate. They physically came in and took everything, from pictures on the wall to the refrigerator, whatever, couch, his personal belongings.
Eventually, the debt ballooned to $7.2 million. It was finally settled for $350,000 in 1997. Nothing can diminish the extraordinary legacy Sammy Davis Jr. left behind. He overcame obstacles that would have defeated a lesser man. The 5'3" dynamo made permanent changes in a world that did not always welcome him.
If it wasn't for Sam, we wouldn't have a lot of the entertainers that we have today, because he was the first. He opened the door. And I think we should all say thank you to him.
He showed us that you can really just go through about anything in your personal life, just about anything in your personal life. And if you're really, really that good, you'll still be okay.
Just keep him alive. You know, he's one of the heroes that we must tell our children about.
Magnanimous. His contribution is magnanimous. He gave, he did. He gave willingly. He gave openly. Always.
He helped with everything we did here for the Children's Center. And believe me, we've been busy, very busy. He was always there.
I think that Sammy would like to be remembered as the greatest entertainer that ever lived. And I don't blame him if he wants to be remembered like that, because he was fantastic.
Many do remember Davis that way. In 2001, Sammy was awarded a posthumous Grammy, his first for Lifetime Achievement. Gary Smith is developing a TV miniseries about Sammy's life, and Quincy Jones is producing a Broadway musical based on Davis's memoirs.
There is nothing that can take away from the gifts that he was given. So that will sustain his memory for, forever. There are those incredible pieces of film that will always take us back to his childhood and carry us all the way through his life. And everything that he was is there. It's wonderful that we have those things as a legacy today.
When he passed, everybody said we're waiting for Sammy to get off the road. And in a way, I still think that he's on the road somewhere.
You know, I'm not trying to take anything away from the other women that married him, but I think hatred for his skin color did something that I didn't think no other person caught on to. And please correct me in the comments if you think I'm wrong. But I think hatred for his skin color, even though it didn't allow him to have the one woman he truly loved, and that broke him down so much so that all the other women can never hold a light to that one woman. And that's the reason why he either worked so much on the road and ignored the marriage, or diminished the bond that he had with those other women. Tell me your thoughts about that in the comments. I mean, what do you think? Maybe I'm on to something, maybe I'm not, I don't know. Be sure to like, share, watch more videos, and subscribe to the channel.